Yes.
Thank you. Um, so this week we're starting with Git. It seems like you must have gone through this lesson with some of the other mentors during the week. Um, so Git basically, can someone let me understand, just know how much we understand Git? Can anyone what do you understand by Git, or have you used Git in maybe have you tried using Git before? So what do you use it for now? Yeah. Yeah, Karen.
In my own words, I can describe it as a way of sharing projects with your colleagues um, so that you can keep track of the changes and refresh the changes without coming across problems.
So thanks. Anybody else want to try? Yeah, I think that's exactly what Git in a nutshell, in a simple words, yeah. So Git basically, there's actually called version control. Sometimes you can see that version control. It's used to track changes over time. So it's used to try. It's actually very powerful. Even it's simple when you add a space in your change or in your file, just like hitting the space bar, it track that change, very minute change in your file or your system. So Git is like I said, we mostly there are different ways to interact with Git, either through the CLI, and there's the GUI as well, like a graphic interface. So um like into program you can interact with Git maybe via the IDEs. I'm sure we've we must have come across this. So version system for interaction window, debugger, and coding hints. There are a lot of options if you don't really already have a favorite. Which IDE do we use at the moment? Or are we using the Visual Studio Code or Autumn or
VS Code
VS Code?
just
Okay.
just started.
Okay. Yeah, so most likely it's going to be popularly might be used familiar or might be using VS Code. Yeah, it's actually recommended, like you said. So this is like the interface of VS Code. So imagine you have an IDE. This is the IDE, and whatever change you did is going to be tracked. So if I would say we need to get more familiar with the commands, how it works in the real time, in maybe while trying it on the command line before we try to um use the graphic interface, like the GUI. Yeah, it make work easy, but you might not really understand what is happening under the hood, basically. But as we go through, we get more familiar with commands and everything. So there are um, one way to get more familiar with Git. Um, so one second, I want to share this official Git, Git, one second. There's a book here. Let me share my screen. Let me share this screen. Yeah, yeah, I wanted to share this one. Um, this is if you want to get more, this is like the official Git documentation or book. Like it tells us about what Git is, like we said, version is a version control. Why should you care? Version control is a system that records changes to a file or set of file over time, so you can recall specific version later. For example, imagine you've done a lot of work coding over time. Maybe you're stuck, but you need to go back to the last working code. The last working code is there for every for every change, there's a like a time, is it checksum? They call checksum, yeah. For every change you make, there's a checksum. Like it keep track of it's actually unique for every change you commit. So you're still going to come talk about committing, creating branches and all in the future in this class, yeah, in this session, yeah. So so it depends. Git can work for anybody. Imagine you just want to track changes to your CV over time. Maybe you created the first file, you add it to Git, and you added maybe in your next, maybe after 1 year, maybe you had a new job, you added, updated the CV, or you just keep track of the change over time. That's just an example, basically. So Git can be used by graphic designer or anybody basically. But we can take a look at this. I'll put this link in the chat so we can take a look at this one, read through it, and yeah. So basically, like we that on the high level, Git is a, like, let's call it tracker. It tracks changes basically. So it's actually important to know, but not really important, but it for everything you want to learn, it's important to get a bit of an in-depth knowledge, so that you know what is happening under the hood. So you can take a look at this one. Then think it talked about the history, how what brought about Git. So as as with many great things in life, Git began with a bit of creative destructions and very controversy. The Linux kernel is an open source project of fairly large scope during the early age of Linux kernel maintenance, 1991 to 2002. Changes of the software were passed across around as patches and archive file. I can relate to this. There was when I started up development, there's a company I first worked with. So basically, if we want to make a change, the software has been kind of is not hosted in the environment, just in our local or installed in this client server environment. So if we want to make a correction or fix a bug, we have to create a patch, then go to the environment, install the patch, and then we have to come back, fix it. That will not fix the issue. So look, if this exactly just reminded me of when I started up. So for every bug you're trying to fix, you have to create a patch. Not like today, you just need to keep really comment, and we have CI/CD, continuous integration and delivery. Then everything is deployed. But before now, there were different things were done in different ways. So in 2025, in 2025, in 2005, the relationship between the community that developed the Linux kernel and the commercial company that developed BitKeeper broke down, and the tools free of charge status was revoked. This prompted the Linux development community to develop their own tool based on some lessons they learned while using BitKeeper. So this just give us an idea of what brought about Git, basically. Um, it's an interesting story, but I can really relate to it. Maybe you might not really relate to it if you're just starting at the moment. So just wanted to point to this. I've shared this on the chart. We can take a look at it on free time. So Git, there are different ways. The other ways is which I think we should get more familiar with, is using command line. So imagine it's a convenient way to navigate, perform Git operation, run program. Mac and Linux include terminal application. Windows provides PowerShell, but Git Batch is better. So there are different. I think Git Batch is also installed when you install Git initially, on Windows. For iOS, I'm on the Mac system. I don't have a Git bash, so I can just demonstrate this using the terminal. So these are common command line commands. PWD basically tells you the current directory you are. LS lists all the files within the or item within the directory. CD is a change from one directory to another. Copy CP is to copy. MV is to move or rename, and RM is to remove or delete. Now, if you want to check the differences between two files, you can use the div, differences between two text files. The first name on the line is a program or script which we run, and the man command to get documentation. So just a quick check in. Have we set up our Git? Do we have it running? Do we have Git installed on our machines? You can put it on the chat, yes, no, or you can respond, just unmute and respond if you want. Yes, okay. Okay. Yeah, that's cool. So we don't have to go into the details. Do we set up SSH as well? Yes. Do you have SSH set up already?
I'm not
Oh,
sure. If it's in the homework, I didn't get up to it yet.
okay. I
But I
know
did
that
it
we,
before in another course, so I don't even remember what it is.
okay. Okay, so let's see. So that means there's this setup gate. Have we gone through it? I think it's on, yeah, this one. Yeah, you went through this one, right? Yeah. Did we went through this one, this setup. Can you see my screen?
Can you scroll up?
Yeah, this one.
Uh,
I think it's part of the course, I believe. And so if you have gone through this setup, then you must have set up your email name and email. Your config, you must have created an SSH key, um, basically, so you can easily push to Git and maybe clone from Git and all, or maybe your preferred version control if it's GitHub or GitLab or yeah. So have you tried to push to Git before? So maybe GitHub or has anyone tried?
yes, I've done this all before for some other courses, but I didn't do it here in Code the Dream, so don't go over it for me.
Ah, okay. All right, just to be sure that maybe there are some pieces we might be missing. Okay, so 1 second. So it's important we know. Can we do just to be sure if you have Git installed? What do you get when you do Git version on your terminal or on your terminal basically? You can see my screen. So if I do Git version, 1 second, should be double. Yes, version, sorry, one Git version alpha. Once again, have Git installed. What do we do when you do Git version? Do we get this? Does it return the version you have installed?
Is it Git dash dash V?
No, Git version. Yeah, this one.
Oh,
I might need to check why my is doing it this, but anyway, just ignore this one for now. This one. Yeah, dash V or dash version, yeah. Okay, someone posted Git version is 2.395. That means we have Git installed basically. Yeah. Yes, so I'll just proceed. We've talked about the version system, what the version system is. We talked a bit of history. Um, Git and GitHub Flow, there are two ways of interaction with Git. So I think we're going to be focusing on Git workflow, and the other one is trunk base, but I think we should just focus on workflow for now, where you have to create a branch out of the main branch. So it's very popular. GitHub is a central repository for collaboration built on ORN. Do we know any other Git any version control system aside GitHub? Can someone tell me? Yeah, so we have GitLab. So there's also GitLab and Bitbucket as well. So I think the common, very popular one is GitHub. That's why I believe that's why we are trying to use it for this course here. Some of the features like you can use to track your content, not the date or the SHA. So you can clone an entire repository. It's used for easy branching and branch management. Pull requests for review and merging of changes. So we're still going to talk about this in details. Yeah. So Visual Studio Code works well with Git. Why? Because it's built by or it's owned by Microsoft. So there's a collaboration between those two um, system. So there's one other thing before we go into our terminal. I would like us to also look out. There's a playground. It's called a play. Yeah. Let's let's start with 1 second. I'll post it on the chat. There's Git's playground. Going to be on the chat again. If you can go into the link, or just follow on the chat here, on the screen, my screen here. So it also tells us something very important. So it tells us about Git, and I just want to point you to this one. Before now, for the default branch in GitHub, or GitHub, so it's formerly called master, but now it's now renamed to main because they're trying to migrate away from biased terminologies rather. So imagine you have maybe the word master may seem so. So they're trying to move away from that. So this is a playground. I was just trying to play with it. So um if you can play with it, it tells you what the first thing the first thing you need to do first when you're starting up Git is to initialize Git itself. So when you do, there's a command called git init. Yeah, you can look at the basic, the common commands. You can do git init. This one will set up a local repository, not needed if cloning. I think we can start with this one. I think I have this. We can start with this. Um, just I will just move in between this screen here and this one, just to let you understand how things work. So basically, I create this repository. This is a folder within. It's called Intro to JS. You can see if you do some of the command we've tried pwd, it tells us where the location of this file of this folder is. So it's inside document, personal, code the dream, intro to programming, blah blah blah. So we can also try an ls, which will list out all the file within the folder. Just like you can see here, we have array method, we have basics, we have functional functions loop, and we have JS object as well. This basically what this is do. If you want to move, can try the other option to move, but you can also try to imagine want to compare between basic and array function, array method. So it's print out what the green one is like what is not present, or this is like a new entry, and this is like there's a conflict basically. So this is in the basic the basic.js, while this is in the array method basically. So and these are in the first file, and these are in the array file basically. So this shows all the differences between the two files basically. So um, I'm going to command clear. So the first thing we're going to try is now we do git. If do we have okay? Let's start with it first. If you do git init, what will it do? It will initialize git for you locally. So if I do git init, it says using master as the main, blah blah blah, the name of the initial branch. So now it's created. If you let's go to this file, I'll go to this directory, open editor. Oh, is it this one? Try to look for file opening. So let's do ls. If you do ls, just to see what is the file, this will not show all the hidden file. It's an hidden file. So we have to do ls-a, and it will show all the files, including the hidden ones. So the .git, it created this file called .git. So this is where it stores it stores the details of the file. As the file changes, it creates a checksum like a SHA-1, it uses SHA-1 encryption. It creates that change log kind of within this .git. So .git, when you do a git init, the first thing, if you're starting a new project locally, the first thing you need to do is create do git init. It's called git init. Then to create a local repository for you, basically. So we've done git init. So I just want to show what this is before we now switch back to this screen. So because git init is not done within this one, that's why I just want to show us this. So the first thing is this is what they want us to do. This is the goal to reach. So this you have to make a change, and this is like the head. It's called head. This is the initial head. When you make a change, the head will come to this. Will be the C1 will be the new head, and this will be like the initial commit. I don't know. Are you following with me? Are you following? This C0 will be the initial commit. C1 will be the new head. If you make commit the next change, C2 will be the next head, and C1 be the previous commit. And if you commit the third change, committing, do you understand what commit is? Can someone tell me what commit, what I mean by commit? When you commit a change, can someone help me? Just to confirm we kind of understand what I'm saying.
Is it when you commit the change to the files on your local drive?
Yeah. So when you commit, what are you trying to do at that point?
You're submitting the changes from your IDE to like your local Git repository, but not the one that's shared.
Yeah, of course you have to commit
Close?
locally. Yeah. Yes, so I just want to ensure you understand what the commit is doing. So when you commit the change, when commit in this case, like you are checking in a change, checking. I don't know if that makes sense. So check in a change. Okay, I'm done with this change. Maybe it looks good. I need to check it in. When you check it in, that means committing it in, it will now create um, a checksum. So like I said, if this was the initial commit, if you check C2 in, C2 will be the head, the new change you committed with a message, and C1 will be the previous one. Then you check in C2 or C3. C3 will be the new head, which is now where the main or the master, like as it used to be before. The master will be always at the current head, or the main will be at the head. So now we have C0 or C0 and C1 already checked in. So we are trying to get to this stage. What do we need to do to get to this stage? So if you look at the instruction, it's quite simple. Just type in git commit twice, then you get to this stage. So git commit basically is like, normally when you do a git commit, you are supposed to pass in a message. We use -m to pass in a message. And the message, we can say, okay, what are we trying to do? Message should be meaningful. Like you should at least picture or describe what you are trying to check in. So in this case, we want to check in C2. Maybe let's say uh, add add C2 or something. And we hit enter. You see that it creates a new head, and our main is now on C2, which is the latest commit. Now we have another comment because we are trying to get to C3. If you have C3, so we have git commit, then we have commit add C3. Now we just completed that challenge. Like it's kind of a fun way to learn Git. You can I will appreciate if we go into this and learn play with it more, but I'll just try to demonstrate more with this one. So just to get to the next one. So now this what we want to do. They said we want to this is about branching. I think before we go to branching, let me I will demonstrate that with my local as well. This is my local change just to let it make sense of it. These are my local change. I've created these 3 files or 4 files. And now if you do, there's something called git status. It shows you the the number of track files and on-track files. So imagine you have these are on-track file because we've not committed them, we've not added them to Git yet. So the first thing we're going to do, can someone tell me what we're going to do to add this to Git? Which command are we going to use?
Push.
Not yet. Yeah, so I see on the chat, Git add, yeah. So we're going to add it to Git first. Well, after we added it to Git, then we check it in. The check-in is now the commit. Let me just to understand this. I'll create another file called where is it? Call it Git. It might not be JS anyway, but something just to tell you what the steps to take. The first step is, let's say Git init. The first step we need to do whenever you're starting a new project locally, you need to do Git init. This will initialize it. It will initialize Git. The next step will be once you have your changes, you've added your changes. The next step will be, oh, you aren't looking at the screen. Please look at the screen. Yeah. The next step will be I was trying some cool things here. So the next step will be git add. You can either use if you use a dot, you're saying add all of these, but if you just want to add the file itself, you can add maybe the name of the file. Let's say name of the file or file name. The file name, then the next thing we do, what we want to do is to check it in. So we want to do git commit with the message, with a meaningful message, like I said, meaningful. Based on that actually tells us what you're trying to. Then we can now decide either continue working. If you want to push it to the remote branch, then you can do a git push to the remote branch, basically. Yeah, this is like the basic step. So you can do git init, like we've done git init initially. Now, these changes are yet to be in Git. The first thing we can do is either we do git hard because we don't want to add this is a like a, is it called metadata files? We don't need to push in this file. So we can do git hard, we can add the file individually, git hard array, git add, what again, basic, and git hard function, then git hard JS object. Now, let's do git. We've added all the file we needed. Let's do git status again. Git status, like I said, it's used to check your current state, current state within Git. So git status, now we've done git status. It said we've changed to be committed. These are the changes we've added or we've staged. So we've staged this, it's called stage because we've added it to Git. And these are the one we are yet to add. We don't need to add this one. And I intentionally did not want to add this one because I just created it randomly. Yeah, so what are we going to do next? We've done Git init, we've done Git add. What do we need to do next? Can someone tell me? Yep, I'm waiting on the chat if you want to drop in the chat. Yep, thank you. You can do Git commit. So I want to commit the message. Git commit with the message. So what name should we give it? We can actually just say initial commit or whatever, but to be more initial commit, initial commit or whatever. Let's just call it initial commit. Um, now we've added it to we've checked it in, we've staged it or we've added it to Git. Now let's check our Git status again. What does it say? Git status says, oh, it say these changes have been added and it has been added to Git and we cannot see it again when we did Git status. It only shows up the files that we are yet to add or we are yet to track, basically. So do we understand it up to this stage before I proceed? Yes, yes, yes. On the chat, no, let me know. Do you understand this so far? So good. Thank you. Yes, so I just we've done we've talked about Git commit on this platform as well. So the next one is branching, which I want to show us from here first, just to understand it with the pictures or diagram, then we can move to the um Visual Studio again. Now, what we wanted to do is make a new branch. Now, before you imagine you're developing a product or whatever project with a colleague or a partner or wherever, then you need to collaborate. So you cannot just you're or in a work environment, you cannot just commit and push your code to a main branch or wherever. You have to create a feature branch. The feature branch is where you push to, and after you push, you now create a pull request or so that it can be reviewed. It's after it has been reviewed, then if it's good, then it can now be merged in. So you need to understand that process. You need to create a branch, a feature branch. Okay, they ask you, Tara, can you work on this making this button um maybe making this button green or making this button something like that. And what the first thing you're going to do is to check out, create the branch out of the main branch, then do your feature, develop it, commit, add it to Git, commit it in, and push it. So when you push it, you now create a pull request called pull request. A pull request or a merge request so that it can be merged into main. So before it can be merged into main, it needs to be reviewed properly. After it's been reviewed, then it can be merged in. That's just like just want to let you know the process and on the higher level. Now, talking about branching, so we need to create a new branch. So before now, we used to use Git checkout, but in the recent, I don't know if you're also familiar with this, is Git switch. Git switch is due to switch branch as well. It's new. So if you can do Git checkout, so we need to check out, um, let's make a new branch first. Git branch, if you want to create a new branch, make a new branch. Make a new branch, let's call it test branch or some test or tests. So you can see that it created a new branch. If you want to list out the branches, git branch, just to see the number of branches there. So it printed out the main branch and your test branch that we just created. This asterisk here tells us that the current branch is that we are still on main. So now we need to check out to test so that we can start our development. So we can do git checkout, checkout, checkout into tests. So you can see that if you do, let's go back to git branch, list of the branch. Now we have our asterisks on the test telling us that, oh, this is now, we are now on test branch, not no more on main branch. So this is basically, oh, I think to pass this test, we are supposed to give it a name called bug fix. Don't worry, I was just trying something else, but to pass this stage, in case you are going through this on the website, to pass this, I just make a new branch, create a new branch called bug fix. Imagine you're told to create a bug fix. Then you can do git checkout, bug fix. Then that should solve this particular challenge. So it's actually a great one to play around with. It can make sure you go through it. It's going to help you a lot. So I'll go back to my Visual Studio. Now, what we want to do is at the point of creating branching out. So you can do Git. There are different ways of creating branch. You can say branch, or I'll just use what I explained to you. Branch, let's call it uh, branch initial, or setup. Call it initial setup. And we have this branch called initial setup. Then we want to check out git checkout, check out into our initial branch, initial setup. So you can see that the git the branch name has changed from master to initial branch. The same thing you can also do git branch, then list all the branch name. So it tells us that the initial branch is now the main branch, it's not the current branch, and the master branch is no more the current branch. So you can, yeah. So basically, this is an idea of branching. You can print different branch. Like I said, you can also create a branch using the git switch. Or you can create a branch by just saying checkout let's call it another thing. Let's say it's, test, for example. And instead of creating a branch initially, you can check out and also create a branch at the same time. You can use the -b. -b is used to also, if the branch does not exist, then create it. So if we try this, so it said error require, sorry, 1 second. Git checkout, 1 second. -b, then tests. Yep. So it's supposed to be from B, then the branch name. Said switch B requires a value saying, okay, after you type in from B, you require a value called test, basically. So if you list out the branch again, you see that we are currently at test branch, and our initial branch is no more the current branch. So this just tells us these are different ways. You can either create a branch and check out at the same time, or create a branch initially, then check out to that, like this what we did, git check branch and check out to the branch after we've created the branch. So another thing we would like to talk about is, let me go to the slide just to be sure we're not diverting. So now, so I wanted to show you something. If you do log git log, what does it what can you see? You can see the commit, and this is the SHA-1, like the hashing of that, like the checksum of this commit. The message is initial commit. It also keep the time and date was committed, the author and the email that was used to, um, that was configured with Git, basically. So this is just to show you what the git log tells you. So if you try to make a change, let's make a change to let's say we just do copy this and this. So what do? We check the status again. What do we see? We say that we've modified this file. That's how powerful it is. It tracks all changes. We've modified these files. Then we can decide to say, okay, git add in the new file, JS object. If we do git status again, we see that the modified file has been staged, has been added to Git. Now, what do we need to do? Then we now add to commit it. Let's give it the name, say update JS object, basically. So this we create, you can see that it also already created a new share, which started with O0D46C694. So if you do git log, you see that we have two commits here. With this is the latest one and is now the head. Can you relate to this with the first this demonstration we did about head and the current state? Can we relate to this? You can see that the head, the new commit we have is now the head, and the old one, the old previous commit is no more the head. This tells us that this commit it shows or it track changes, not the date or time. So if you want to go back to this commit, you can also check out back to this commit. That's important of Git. So that you can either go back in time or go back in time like the previous commit, and you can also add new commits and so on. Let me know if you have a question, any questions so far. Do you have a question? Yeah, please.
So I'm picturing a scenario in my head, and I just want confirmation that this is like maybe what it would be like in a real situation.
Yeah.
Imagine they're coming up with a new iPhone iOS,
Mm-hmm.
I imagine that one developer is working on some new security feature, another developer is working on accessibility, someone is working on
UI.
like
Mm-hmm.
map updates,
Mm-hmm.
etc., right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And they all, was it called a feature branch?
Yeah, exactly.
Feature, feature
Feature
version, feature
branch.
branch.
Yeah,
So I'm
feature
imagining
branching.
like 20 to 30 developers are like uploading these feature branches onto Git.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have like a head engineer or maybe a few people who
Reviews. Yeah.
review them to make sure that they all are
Yeah.
compatible with each
Yeah.
other and that there's no bugs.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's when they merge them after
Exactly.
that.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. That just I think you got the whole explanation, which makes sense. Yeah. Yeah, so you can I think I will leave this to you guys to play with. Can you really enjoy this learn Git branching and all. Yes, so we've talked about Git commit, Git hard, Git log. Log shows all the history of the changes. We've talked about Git add. We talk about Git status that tells us the status of the changes. Like I said, one after we've staged it, it shows as green that okay, this has been added, and these are yet to be added. They're still red. We don't need to add them. If you need to add them, you can just do git add the file name, or you can do git add then dot we add all. The dot means all. So to add all file, I think I also use git add asterisk if I can remember. Yeah, to add all the file. Do we still have any question? Just want to see if we have some more time before we go to pull requests. I think I would have loved us to try this on our local before we go there. Maybe we can come back to pull requests in the next session. Pull requests and some other peer reviews. Yeah. So we've basically talked about all of these ones and git commit. So we're left with git push and pull. So to git push, do we have git account or GitHub account already? Yeah. Do we have GitHub account?
Yes.
Okay. Just trying to see what we can try to do. I'm not signing up. I have to sign in. I think there's still supposed to be a session about deep dive into GitHub, Git, I believe, right? So we should still have one more session on Git, right? If I'm correct, looking at the course schedule or calendar. So if we still have one more session, then I would say we should come back to it in the next session. What's our thought about that?
Yeah, sounds good. It looks like we have a deeper look at Git in the new
Yeah,
year.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I think that this should be enough to play with Git and like I will repeat it again. Let's kind of play with the learning Git branching.js.org, play with it and try to understand what you're trying to do now. If you do you have any question before we end it here?
No, no questions for me.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. Thank you. Thanks everyone for joining. Um, wish you um wish you all the best. So we'll hopefully meet again next week. Yeah. Not next week.
Thanks.
Sorry. In the new year. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Hassan. Happy
Yeah.
holidays.
Yeah. Happy holidays. Yeah. Cheers. Thank you. Cheers. Bye.